Hello everyone, welcome to Analog IAS Current Affair Analysis for 14th May 2020, and these are the articles we'll be dealing today. The first article for the day is taken from the Indian Express and it is titled What MSME Package Means. So this is the first installment of the Atmanirbhar Bharat Abhiyan package that our Prime Minister Modi has announced earlier. So what is this package about and what are the incentives given for MSME sector for economic revival? Let us examine in this particular news item. So to begin with, the definition of the MSME is changed by amending the MSME Act 2006. So the existing definition of MSME has been revised, and the major takeaway here is that there shall be no difference between services and manufacturing. That is the first step taken by the government. So now, whether it is a manufacturing industry or a service sector industry, the definition is now based on the investment made and the turnover. So a micro industry, as per the new definition, is an industry that is making an investment up to 1 crore and has a turnover of up to 5 crores. So similarly, small industry is defined as the one that has an investment between 1 and 10 crores, and similarly a medium industry is one that has an investment between 10 to 20 crores. Similarly, the turnover for small industries is 50 crores and medium industries is 100 crores, the upper limit. So this is the first change that the government has announced as a part of its MSME package. So how does this change of definition exactly help? Now, even when there is a scope for a large development, either in the small sector or the micro industries, they have an incentive to remain small because of the compliance burden. Unless and until they grow beyond a particular size, there is no need for these companies to comply with these laws. So the ease of doing business for MSME sector has been quite low. So the previous proposed definitions, which based a categorization of an industry just based on investment and turnover, would allow even traders to benefit without any investments in plant and machinery. So therefore, the government has reached a middle ground because registration of MSMEs was not compulsory. So there might be scores of MSMEs which have not registered. Currently there are more than 60 lakh registered MSMEs, but there is a estimate that there are as many as 6 crore MSMEs in our country, and to identify this we need to change our definition. So what the government is trying to do here is, with this new order, the government is expected to link all these MSMEs to the GST system. The consequence of this action is that we will now be able to identify all the MSME sectors, industries which wants to avail the benefits such as interest subvention scheme. This will facilitate identification of all the MSMEs which were not registered earlier through this GST system. Thus we will have a better picture of the MSME sector and we will have data to make policies further down the line. So this is a good change. So there might be a question, what is the reason that the government has taken its first step towards addressing the concerns of MSMEs? Why not any other sector? There are certain reasons. There are some reasons. First one is employment. MSME sector has the potential to generate the largest employment after agriculture in our country. It has the potential to generate at least 20 crore jobs in the next few years, and it contributes a significant amount of GDP. So it also contributes to 6.11% of the manufacturing GDP, and at the same time it is responsible for nearly 45% of the exports from our country. So despite having such significant impact on the economy, MSME sector has received very little help from the government in the past few decades. So to address this issue, there is no better opportunity than the COVID-19 crisis, because this is the time where we have to encourage our MSME sector which wants to grow their business beyond a particular threshold. Also, in this context, let us have a look at the various issues that the MSME sector faces. The first one being the access to credit. So 90% of the MSMEs are dependent on informal sources of funding because most of them are not registered. This is the major problem. So formalization of economy should happen, and the change in the definition of MSME sector will help in formalization because they will be ultimately linked to GST system to avail benefits. Secondly, the problem is their access to markets is very low. Outreach activities and marketing activities for MSME sector is very economically expensive. So the non-availability of new markets will force them to remain small. Thirdly, they don't have human resources who are talented because they cannot afford to spend a large amount on human resources. So there will be a issue of weak financial standing and their inability to expand their human resource base. The next one is that of low quality. The low quality products will impact the export competitiveness of this MSME sector products. So next one is raw material access. We don't have adequate access to quality raw materials. A part of this is because of the inverted duty structure, where the taxes that the importer pays on raw materials is much higher than the tax that he incurs on the export product. And the last but also significantly important point is the poor litigation system in our country. If there are any insolvency issues for MSME sector companies, the litigation system in our country is not conducive enough. Even the Law Commission reports have time and again raised this issue that we need to revamp our litigation system to help MSME sector. So the major thrust of this MSME package that was announced yesterday focused exclusively on handling each of these factors, mainly the credit issue. So the major announcement was that the government would now be extending 100% credit guarantee for MSME. Now what is this credit guarantee? Let us try to understand. So loans to MSMEs are mostly given against a collateral, that is some sort of a property against which you will be getting loans. So if you fail to pay back your loan, the banks will take away this property. Now in these times of crisis, the government wants to help the MSME sector because they believe that if MSME sector is focused upon, it will have a multiplier effect. How? They will create jobs by growing bigger and bigger. More number of people will get employed, and it will also lead to decentralized development. So for example, if the government says that MSME sector, if the particular company has been performing before COVID-19 in a exceptionally good manner, that is the economic performance of that MSME company is good enough for those companies to avoid the impact of COVID-19 on them, the government is ready to give 100% credit guarantee. Now what does this mean? The article gives an example directly. For example, if the government says that it will provide 100% guarantee for the loan taken by company X, and if that company defaults on the payment of that loan, the entire amount that the company X has taken will be paid by the government to the bank. So therefore it is minimizing the risk for the banks. Now why did government take this measure? It is because recently through its monetary policy update, RBI ensured that banks have enough liquidity, that is through various operations or the COVID-19 package, RBI has increased the liquidity. This also includes various measures like reducing the bank rate. However, banks were very reluctant to lend loans because they did not want to take any risk because of the possibility of these loans turning NPAs in this present crisis. So in order to ensure that the liquidity that RBI has ensured to the banks is transferred to MSME sector, the government has taken this credit guarantee route. So one might get a doubt, why give credit guarantee? Why not directly put money into the hands of MSME sector? You have to understand that the government revenue is very limited. At this point of time, tax collections are very low. There is no other source of revenue. The government must borrow money for other needs also and cannot address directly the needs of MSME sector. So it is taking this indirect route because banks are the real agents of economic activity in our country, or financial institutions we can say rather. So if banks allow enough liquidity to NBFCs, which are also one of the major components in ensuring liquidity for MSME sector, and also by directly helping the MSME sector, the government will be pushing money towards this MSME sector development. This will in fact have a multiplier effect by creating more number of jobs. So there is the saying, teach a man how to fish rather than giving him the fish directly. So this is the logic employed by the government in order to have this multiplier effect. So how did the government arrive at this 3 lakh figure? What is the logic? Why not more? Why not give out even less? So if you take a look at the total outstanding amount that the MSME sector owes to the banks, it stands somewhere between 16 to 18 lakh crores. So the government has assumed that 20% incremental funding needs are required for MSME sector to pay out their salaries. You have to understand that liquidity is very important for MSME sector. They might have invested their money in operations, and because of the lockdown that operations have come to a halt, but that cannot be a reason as to why the company should stop the salaries for its employees. So they need liquidity. So this liquidity is calculated to be roughly around 20%. So assuming that this is the capital requirement, so the government is willing to extend those loans and in a hope that they will recover all that money. So in order to ensure that banks encourage this extra loans despite having a risk, the government is giving a credit guarantee. This is to ensure that the liquidity issue for MSME sector is handled. This is one of the most monumental steps taken by governments in recent times. Why am I saying this? Imagine a scenario where 100% of the loan is given to the MSME company without any collateral. So that means there is no incentive for the person who took this loan to pay back, because the government is ensuring 100% loan payment for the banks. So even the banks may not be so risk averse in these situations because they are getting a guarantee from the government that they will get their money back. In fact, this is the most safest investment for banks right now. Having said that, there is a possibility that these loans might turn NPA, but the government is willing to risk it because it is a leap of faith. MSME sector has been waiting for a long time for support from different governments. This is the opportunity for them. That is the gist of this article. The second article for the day is titled PM's Woods and FM's Trees. So on Tuesday, when the Prime Minister gave out his speech about a self-resilient India, or the call for promoting the Swadeshi products, he mentioned that the Finance Minister will be giving out details for the roadmap. Yesterday, the government through Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman has come out with a package to address the needs of majorly MSME sector. So in this context, there were a lot of commentaries about how this is parallel to the 1991 LPG reforms. So the major takeaways from the PM speech were this: the government wants to increase public spending directly or indirectly. Secondly, it wants to increase the domestic competitiveness of the industries and also increase their competitiveness with respect to exports. And thirdly, a major thrust towards Swadeshi products. So an increased public spending will certainly boost demand and generate employment in the short term. That is very much understood, and it is a traditional Keynesian economic stimulus that we are talking about. Secondly, When we are talking about policy reforms, we are talking about factor market reforms. What are these factor markets? The factor markets are those which deal with the factors of production, namely land, labor, and capital. So, the success of the Swadeshi theme that the government is trying to push severely depends upon the factor market reforms and the seriousness with which these reforms will be implemented. On paper, we can say a lot of things with respect to these factor market reforms, but it requires serious commitment from state governments because land is a state government subject. Similarly, we need stringent implementation from states with respect to labor reforms and also capital reforms. A lot of it depends upon the efficiency of the banking sector and the due diligence that they exhibit. So, to simply put it, the government can have success if investors, consumers, and all the other stakeholders in the economy have a belief in the commitment of the political leadership. Now, this political leadership means that the government, that is, the central government, must work closely with the states. That is, we are talking about a cooperative federal structure in its true spirit. Unless and until the center and states work together as a team, this is not going to be possible. Now, the self-reliance or Swadeshi as an ideal is very much attainable if we have this cooperative federalism at the heart of our political debates or the way governance functions in our country. If we take a closer look at the basket of goods that our country is dependent on, especially for its imports, the first one is oil and gas. Oil and gas cannot be produced in our economy without depending upon external agents. Similarly, India is seeking a lot of foreign capital. Capital is one of the major factors of production, and without access to this foreign capital, India cannot grow. So, how does the government emphasize on this Swadeshi component and at the same time seek foreign capital? That is the challenge. Next, we are dependent upon various foreign countries for our defense needs, whether it is Russia, whether it is France in the form of Rafale deal, or whether it is the US. Our defense imports have been very high. The next component is electronic goods, whether it is the cell phones that we are using or the electronic components in the form of refrigerators, TVs, ACs, all this have certain electronic components which are produced elsewhere and imported into our country. So, this self-reliance strategy will work when India can offer something back to the economies from which we are importing these products. So, this is what China has done. It has added value to the countries from which it is importing. By doing so, China has also created a sort of dependency for those countries. So, it became a give and take sort of a policy. So, when China refuses to buy wine and beef from Australia, it is using its import power, not demonstrating its import dependence. If an economy is willing to live without these imports, or it can substitute this with domestic production, then it is definitely not hurt. But that is not the case for India. We cannot have a substitute for oil and gas till we have a viable electronic vehicles industry. Similarly, we cannot overrule FDI unless and until we have high savings rate and at the same time have a formidable domestic investment. Thirdly, we cannot have completely a defense industry that is indigenous unless and until we have the human resources and technological capability to produce indigenously. Similarly is the case with electronics industry. The reason why we want to import Chinese cell phones and South Korean refrigerators and air conditions, like say for Samsung, the reason is they have better technology at a lower price. Unless and until we invest on the key components of education and innovation, we cannot attain this ideal of Swadeshi. Sure, this is a beginning point, but the government must make efforts to deal with this situation by working with the states. The spirit of cooperative federalism is important now more than any other time. How the government will react on these terms, whether it is education or healthcare, will determine the future of this Swadeshi agenda. That is the gist of this article.